Hi, my name is Marta. I'm the daughter of my caring and supportive parents and sister to two wonderful brothers. When I was little, I would spend hours doing something that most parents fight with their kids about, and mine were no different. That little box was hypnotizing. Unconsciously, I always wanted to be part of that world, but was quite worried about the uncertainties of the television industry.
Television isn't for people who want a nice, secure job. It just doesn't work like that.
Once I finished my degree in multimedia arts in Portugal, I was at a loss since every job opportunity and work experience turned out to be a dead end.
Becoming more and more competitive, budgets are being cut or stretched, and so that impacts particularly on people at the entry levels.
Coming from a country where it is increasingly difficult to get jobs, my dream of getting into the media industry was fading. Until one day, my parents, aware of my passion for film and television, offered me the opportunity to go abroad and develop my knowledge. Although extremely excited and thankful, I was still unsure if the academic world will help me to achieve my goals. In a blink, I was in Cambridge, in England, doing a master's in film and television. And once I got to watch television and do films as homework, I knew I was in the right place. However, the uncertainty of getting a job still haunted me, so I went on a quest to understand how doing a degree can help in this industry and what is out there waiting for me once I finish. What made you study TV and film?
I wanted to do something practical, and even though I love reading books and I love writing things, I felt like the academic career is not really for me, and I wanted to study something that will give me the skills to actually use outside of the course and hopefully start my career straight on from there.
I was always very interested by photography or things that had to do with cameras, and I really wanted to be a journalist before, so I thought that film and TV was like a good combination of both.
Without university, I think I'd be living a very dull, 9-to-5, secure life. I like that I might not find a job. Like, it's kind of exciting. And I'm glad that I decided to go, definitely.
I think one of the really great things about people that have had the opportunity, and I would say the good fortune, to go to film school or do a television course is that it gives you a chance to try out your ideas as well as getting the practical skills that you need, like editing and shooting.
After sort of the first week or two, I thought, this isn't the course for me. And what have I done to myself? I don't know any of this stuff at all. I'm never going to be able to use a camera.
When I first started studying film and TV, I found there was a lot more to it than I thought, really. Not just picking up on a camera and go is what I used to do, making films.
Before I came to Cambridge and Anglia Ruskin, I didn't know that much about film. Like, I took classes and stuff, but it wasn't really in depth.
I consider myself immeasurably lucky to be in a position that I am sitting in UK studying a course which my parents never did. They've had very humble beginnings. My grandfather and grandmother, they've had very humble beginnings.
I bought myself a book called 1001 Movies to See Before You Die, skimmed through it. I think I checked off 2, and I think it was Avatar and Jaws.
Since I've come here, I've learned so much, like in terms of storytelling and like in terms of like lens and framing and the composition of your frame and everything, because I want to be a cinematographer.
For me, it was a really good experience just to get that know-how on how to do things, and also because you are kind of forced and you kind of have to work in teams, so that's getting the experience of working with different kinds of people.
And I think that Anglia Ruskin throughout my 3 years will really help me to learn more and more about like what lens I have to use, what different cameras and what quality I want. So yeah, I think that's like what's really going to help me.
As foreign students, we are taking even a greater risk, and the desire to return to Portugal and succeed has made me eager to take every opportunity available and always be busy.
So I've always been in this mindset that you need to do outside work. You need to do stuff that's not just what you've been given.
You know, just put together a crew, try to do stuff, just like don't stay in your class and just do your course projects, because you always need to push yourself and do more, basically.
We've got access to so much kit and so much stuff. You got cameras, you got mics, you got reflectors, you got lights, and you've got spaces as well. So you've got the TV studio and you've got a blank studio that you can do green screen or black screen stuff. So the opportunity is there to have projects.
For me to be sitting here and talking in front of a camera, which 30 years ago my parents would never have been able to afford, in a set which the infrastructure for which we lack in India, it makes me feel very lucky, very fortunate, and at the same time very skeptical about the quality of work happening all around the world.
I know people who have literally posted on Facebook, I'm really bored, or they say like, oh, just play an Xbox tonight, or what a film, like watched a great film. I was like, yeah, that's all well and good. You can do that over the summer. But when you've got access to kit and you've got access to people, you know, there's people here who want to be actors, there are people who want to be performers or want to be presenters. Use them. You know, there's nothing better than networking, meeting people and doing projects and working with them.
At uni, you would have kind of resources that would keep on top of things, and you talk to people who know about things, so it's easy to kind of catch on what's happening and keep on top of the latest news and the high tech, and you just try to be in the know and stay in the know.
If I, personally speaking, am able to bring a little bit of what I've learned, a little bit of the infrastructure, of the facilities, the mindset, the thinking, the discipline back to India, that is something which is absolutely, which thrills me, which excites me to think that that might be a possibility someday.
As a young filmmaker, it can be exciting but daunting to witness how much the technology and the internet are changing the industry.
I don't think inherently the industry's changed that much.
When TV came out, they thought it would be the end of cinema. In fact, it just changed. And they tried all the kind of crazy stuff like, you know, VistaVision and 3D, which, all surprise, surprise, they're doing that again now to combat pirating.
You know, when I started, like, there was no way I could have edited myself. And the main reason was that I couldn't afford to buy 2, if not 3, digi-beta decks at £40,000 each, plus all the mixing boards that were required, as well as a huge room you'd need, and all the digi-beta tapes that you would have required to actually do the work on. Nor could I have afforded to have a fully developed post-production audio facility to do sound design and mixing. So, you know, now people can do that on their laptops, you know. Are they, you know, does that mean everyone's a pro? Of course not.
You know, you'll never be able to make television without producers and directors and self-shooters, because, you know, television needs to be produced, people need to be produced.
The industry itself seems to morph depending on what comes out. And there is always ebb and flow in terms of the way certain types of projects will be the flavour of the month.
Big producers, for example, say Warner Brothers or 20th Century Fox, they produce blockbuster movies. They put their faith in established directors. They should never forget that there are college students who've made college films which are absolutely out of this world. They can look at these short films, they can look at these small works, their show reels, and say, why not give them a chance? Why not see what they can do?
The attitude towards younger people especially, thinking that we don't know how to do things and will slate you before they've actually seen what you've been able to do.
You might meet people that rub you up the wrong way, you just always have to rise above it. And it's easier said than done. Sometimes you will have a meltdown, but you know, when you start out, it's just really about being humble, being yourself, and just being willing to try anything.
One thing is certain, the industry is constantly changing, and in order to succeed, I will always have to keep an eye on the new trends.
The thing with television is that it's extremely reactive, it's very fast-paced, and so people who work in television need to be fleet of foot, they need to be reactive.
The whole point I wanted to start doing what I do now is just to communicate with people and kind of bring people's, kind of be the messenger in a way, that you kind of bring the message.
They need to be responsive, They need to be very reliable.
You just create something together, and that's like the thing I really love. You're really proud of your work at the end of it.
They need to be organised. They need to also have a lot of people skills.
For me, it's just the best. Just working with other creative people, and you just have great times figuring stuff out and going on a journey.
Someone who's very enthusiastic, very passionate, ready to drop anything at any time, ready to sort of go with the flow of the schedule changes.
I'd love that. That's the kind of job I want, where I get a phone call and say, we've got this opportunity, we need you on this shoot, and it's going to be happening in 3 months' time, or it's happening next week and we need you to drive across the country. That's fine. I'll happily do that.
And really be prepared to put in very, very long hours, because that's kind of what's required.
With everything that I do, I always come back to my supportive and caring parents and how I want to make them proud.
Para mim foi deslumbramento. Eu nunca pensei que ia ter uma filha que ia filmar e fazer produção.
O sentimento que eu tenho em relação a ti é que tu tens tudo o que precisas para te poderes realizar. E estou muito confiante que tens todas as condições para ter uma vida boa. Boa no sentido de, pode não ser ter muito dinheiro, mas é ter harmonia, fazer aquilo que é importante, procurares à tua maneira os teus momentos de felicidade e sentindo que estás a aproveitar bem aquilo que te é dado, não é?
Neste momento em que toda a gente quer ser economista, gestor, médico, enfermeiro, ou agora é muito que está na moda, design de moda ou design, ter uma pessoa que está atrás da câmara, acho espantoso, acho ótimo.
As I'm reaching the finishing line, the question of what is coming next is constantly on my mind.
Looking for jobs is the easy part. Getting them is the difficult bit.
Really, it's often so much timing and luck.
There seems to actually be lots of work experience opportunities, placements, and even paid jobs.
You can send out your CV to 10 people or 20 people and you won't get a response.
I think I've probably applied for 10 to 15, and probably about 10 of them I've not even received a reply from.
But you know, your CV will maybe it's happened to me, is that literally I've got a call to say we've got a brand new commission for Channel 4, we want this kind of team, and literally a CV will come into my inbox half an hour later, and it's just luck. And I think, oh my God, that person's perfect. Well, if they'd have emailed me the week before or the week after, it wouldn't have happened. So it is important to keep sending your CV out and not to give up.
But luckily, I have been offered a work experience placement with BBC in Bristol.
Our official figures are something like 80% of students will get a job that relates to their degree.
There is a possibility that I could get a job from it, but that does depend on sort of, you know, money and things like that. So I'm not getting my hopes up, because still work experience is better than nothing, and it's going to go on my CV and it will look good.
You could go into an advertising company as a receptionist, as a starting place, or an equipment hire company where you're renting out the gear, or it could be a runner or a traineeship.
I saw a position on the BBC Hub for the PA role, and it was a part-time role at the time. I was like really excited because I figured I could do kind of my regular client projects during the day and go to the newsroom in the evening.
But hopefully, if you know what you're doing and you know how much effort it is to do every single film and you're on the ball all the time, people will recognise that and you'll step up the ladder quite quickly.
I hope this is not just an educational trip. I just hope, and I cross my fingers and I hope that this just doesn't turn out to be that I've come all the way to UK, done my masters, did my dissertation, did a master's project, and then went off back to India.
After uni, I'd like to move maybe to London. I think everyone wants to do that because I think it has loads of, you know, great like you could get loads of experience, but I think it's kind of hard too.
Kind of see myself going more into music videos, but that doesn't really pay.
I'm still looking for things that I can do, areas that I can explore. If I start working here, how can I do that? How can I approach the right people? How can I meet the right kind of people that will actually help me in my quest?
I'd like to travel at some point, like travel and do something with film, like try to educate children or something. But yeah, not sure yet. I'm only 18, so I'm not gonna get ahead of myself. But yeah.
The director from the shoot, my first international shoot, wants to go to California. So I could be out in California for a couple of months shooting stuff out there.
So yeah, part of this industry is doing stuff and not doing stuff. At the moment I'm quite fresh in that, so I'm kind of finding my feet, but
just building that kind of client base is extremely important.
The uncertainty is a little bit daunting because you don't know whether you're going to be paid or whether it's going to be something you're going to do as a favour to a friend.
This is the hard part, of course, because you need to just kind of put yourself out there without really having that much to show for it and just gain the trust of strangers.
There's no control over what's going to happen, so you just have to take what comes your way.
Because at the moment there's about 4 projects I've got happening, but then there's certain days where I'm not doing much, but I need to find myself something to do during those days.
You know, I used to think, oh, you know, when you get more experience, you never will feel like that. It's not true. You kind of always feel like that. I remember I worked with a very, very top cameraman, and I rang him up one day and said, you know, how are you? He said, oh, I don't know, I'm not great. I said, what's the matter? He said, well, I haven't worked, you know, I haven't worked for like 3 weeks. And I said, well, yeah, but Chris, everyone's ringing you up all the time wanting you to do their films. Yeah, but nothing's actually happened. And I came away thinking, oh my God, you know, he's like absolutely the top, but even he is thinking, oh, you know, I haven't got a job yet. So in a way, being freelance, constantly moving around, there's always a little bit of that, but you just get used to it and you get used to managing it.
It is clear that this industry is challenging and that my career ahead will not be easy. I came to Cambridge with a lot of uncertainties, but throughout my academic, practical and personal journey, I can now say that I'm no longer afraid of not getting a job, and as long as I'm enjoying what I do, I know I'm on the right track.
My dream job, like really if it was dream, I think my dream job would be maybe working like in the music industry.
I've dreamed so much over the last 3 years of having my own little office space. So having my own speaker system, my own Mac.
My dream job would be to be a food critic. I would love to be a director, of course, and that's what my life is.
She rang me 2 or 3 days later and offered me the job. So
my dream would be to travel with work, so I don't want to stick in one place. I like to move around and learn about.
You get to go to restaurants to eat food and you're paid to do that. You're paid to travel the world to eat food.
And what would be your dream job?
This is my dream job. What are you talking about?
That's amazing.
This is my dream job. I started...